Hey everyone, this is Voice Acting with Veronica Barrera, a voiceover podcast interviewing voice actors, casting directors, producers, writers, engineers, tech guys, and others that work in the industry. How did they get into voice acting? What key things to learn from voice acting? Learn all you can from these incredible people. Today, my special guest is Leslie Rodriguez. She is a comedian and impressionist known for her quick wit and unapologetic candor. Her repertoire of 60 plus impressions range from Lois Griffin to Lisa Simpson. She voices her own creation, Mr. Tooth, a 67-year-old British Tooth, former butler, with dreams of the silver screen in Mr. Tooth's terrible table reads, an original production coming to Clubhouse this spring. In the past, Leslie voiced Jenny Weasley and Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, as well as Captain Soren in the Matrix trilogy audio plays. She's recorded voiceovers for the Federal Aviation Administration and General Services Administration, to name a few. Leslie appears weekly on Impersonation Nation and the game show Twinning. Welcome to the show, Leslie. I'm super excited that you're taking the time to be with me.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yay! And for those that don't know, this was fun with troubleshooting to get to this point. And I'm just glad we're here.
We're super patient, thank goodness.
All right. Are you a coffee or tea person?
Not on the regular, but if I have to choose, I choose coffee. It's not every day. If someone was here and they were making coffee, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll have a cup. But I just definitely don't seek it out. And if I do, I'll go to Starbucks usually.
Good. I don't drink coffee, and my doctor says don't drink it. So I'm like, okay. So
no reason to start now.
No, not at all. What's your favorite guilty pleasure snack?
I'm not even messed up about it. It's obviously Reese's Pieces. And the guilty part is that it's white chocolate.
There you go. It's not too bad.
Secret, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently there's dark chocolate too.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be really good. The percentage of the like not cacao, but like the percentage of the chocolate, the darker it is, like 70 to 90. Whew, it's bitter.
And yeah, I'm not a really big sweets person at all. And that's the one thing I like is peanut butter cups.
Oh my gosh. I could, if I eat too many, my stomach will let me know. And that's all I'm going to say. So, what's something that people don't know about you?
I'm a really big antique collector.
Really?
Yeah. I generally am drawn to things from an era of like my grandparents because they're no longer with us, but they were very special to me and very close with me. So I collect a lot of Masonic memorabilia. My grandfather was a Mason, and then anything that just kind of like reminds me of them, makes me feel like them. I'm a big collector of like, I start on these collections and I'll get in on one. Like I was a really big stamp collector for a while. Then I got into the Masonic stuff. Then I got into Pokemon. It's really all over the board.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. So do you like, what is the Antique Roadshows?
I love that.
Okay.
Yes.
So I only know about that because of my parents. They like it. And then Frasier, there's an episode where they have this, I think this bear thing, and it's they're like, oh, I wonder if it's, they found out it was like worth a gazillion dollars basically. And they were freaking out. So I only know about that. So.
Yeah, it's a little known secret that I'm a huge nerd, but I think it's going to be revealed in this podcast.
It's all right. I am too. We're in good company. Now, what's your favorite place that you've traveled to?
Oh gosh. I'll be honest, and I'm just going to go so basic. In the US, I love New Orleans. It's probably my favorite city. I've been there 5 times.
Really?
Yeah. So many different occasions. Like I've gone for Southern Decadence. I went for Halloween. I went for Thanksgiving. I went for Jazz Fest, for Mardi Gras. And I can't wait to go back when, pandemic is a little bit quieter.
Yeah. You and me both. We're supposed to go abroad. Never been to New Orleans, although I have watched this show called Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix. And it's an amazing show because he goes to different locations all around the world. And one of them is New Orleans. And there's this restaurant. I don't remember the name of it. You might be able to help me out here. But the food there is so funky and weird. It looks like it's not going to taste good, but it tastes delicious. I don't even know what it's called. I'm trying to think. But I'm assuming the food was amazing. I always like talking about food for some reason.
Me too. It's a place where the culture is so rich and the history is so present and prevalent still that it's like you're walking down the street. It's like palpable. You can feel everything, and it's just amazing. Food wise, like they've got great seafood. Like notorious places like Mother's, it's like a huge like soul food breakfast place, and then Ruby Slipper, and of course like Cafe Du Monde and like Jackson Square. So many great places, and like if you end up going down there, there's a hotel called the Whitney, and it used to be a bank. So they took this bank building and they've converted it to a hotel, and the lobby is actually where the vault is. It's so cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I also watched one of our favorite movies is Chef. It's an independent movie. It's done by John Favreau. We love him.
Uh-huh.
And they go to Cafe Du Monde and you see the donuts. I'm assuming they filmed there, and you see the donuts and at the beignets. And I'm like, oh, I wanted to try my first beignet when I go there. So I'm like, I don't want to go for, Mardi Gras. I want to go for Cafe Du Monde to try my first beignet. So
It's a place, no matter what time of year you're there, you'll have a great time.
so yeah, I'm excited about that. Great food and memories. Do you have a favorite book?
Oh, well, I don't have a favorite book. I have a book that I reference a lot in comedy and then just in like life, and that's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. It's not a book I pick up often, but it's just like there's so many nostalgic moments that book becomes appropriate to reference, and people laugh every time. So it's been good to me, I should say.
Good, good. Sorry, could you say the name of you cut out when you said the name of
Oh
the book?
yeah, it's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. It's like a kid's book for like it's like a period book.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool,
but
cool.
like if I'm like gonna be really serious about it, I like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I've read The Shining probably like 4 times.
Oh, those are
Heavy.
yes.
I'm edgy and dark.
Yeah, my aunt years ago, she would read a lot of Stephen King books before she went to bed, and then she
Oh,
had to stop doing that because I'm sure the nightmares she had.
I
So
assume she was very hardcore if she was reading them before bed.
yeah, I think that
One
was
one tough
her.
broad, yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty tough. If you could have dinner with someone, who would it be and why?
Ooh, I think it would be Amy Sedaris. I'm a really big fan. Just the things she's done in comedy, and so early as a woman in comedy in like 1999 to 2003 with Strangers with Candy. That show was iconic. It was the first non-cartoon show on Comedy Central. Early Stephen Colbert, like just she's done so much, and now she's been like the third wave of her career, which is this crafting that she's doing and this at home with Amy Sedaris. And she just seems like a very interesting person, and I just admired the crap out of her.
Yeah, she is pretty amazing. She's also in Chef. If I don't know if you've seen
Oh,
that
okay.
movie. So
No.
it's on Netflix, I think. Don't quote me on it. And if it's not, I was gonna say I could let you borrow it, but you're all the way in DC. So I don't know. I would let you do
Well, I have
that.
Netflix, so that's the first battle that we've conquered.
That's true. That's true. If it's there, watch it.
And
And she's
I'll
in it.
tell everyone you made me watch it and told me to watch it. And if it's great, you'll get the praise. And if not, well,
It's independent, but it's John Favreau. So if you like John Favreau, you might be surprised.
I don't
And
dislike him.
Roy Choi is in it, and he
Okay.
referenced Roy Choi. He's a famous chef out here in LA, and he he I've yet to try his kogi truck. Apparently, it's really really
Cool.
good. So if you like food and culture, that's got a lot of that in there. So
I
you
like to
might
think
like
I do.
it.
I can
Amazing.
check it out. Is it a
Yeah.
comedy?
Yeah, it's comedy.
Sweet.
It's there's a heart to it. Yeah. So we do like a lot of food documentaries. So I guess that's probably why we like
They're
it so
like, you
much.
might like.
You might, but then you might
That's
not.
awesome.
So but if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
That's a great question. I would probably say like the ability to stop time or time travel. I always think that those two powers or those interchanging powers are very telling what people would do. Like if you can really like suss out a person's character by how they would use those powers. And I just feel like I would probably use them really silly. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, we're stopping the assassination of JFK. I'm like, no, I'm going to go eat a hot dog with this person I used to like in the fifth grade and see if it went differently.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh man, if I could, I think for me, I always say if I could teleport somewhere, I think,
Oh, yeah,
especially
that's a good one.
now.
Can I change my answer?
No, you're fine. I think since everything happened in the past 2 years, I think I would definitely like to teleport instead of, flying. But if I could just go boom, snap my finger and I'm there, I'm good.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, and obviously fiscally, it's very affordable and I mean, I don't know what a teleporter would cost, but long term cost benefit on that is probably great.
Or flu network. I'm thinking Harry Potter here,
Oh
but
yeah. I know a little bit about the HP.
amazing. So when did you know that VO was something that you wanted to pursue?
So I worked at a creative services firm in, I think it was 2014, 2015. And we had predominantly voice actors and writers and cameramen. And I was a communications person. I did project management. And I was just like, I was always in acting in my youth and then in college. I was like, you know what? I really want to do this again. What is a way that I can do this and get paid? Oh, maybe they'll let me do a VO on one of these videos. So they were getting a little stale on some of the regulars, and I just approached the creative director and I was like, "Hey, do you think I can get me to read for that?" And that was it. And that was that. And that's how it started.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Really cool.
I think as we kind of talked about it earlier, that we wish we would have started sooner in life,
Mhm.
but there's no. I think one of the great things about voice acting, it doesn't matter what age you start. If this is your retirement job or whatever you want to do, there's no perfect time to start now. And
Absolutely.
I'm a big component of, if this is what you want to do, go for it. So I totally understand that. Which leads me into, what's your favorite thing about comedy?
Oh, I just kind of really had this. I used to do comedy because it made me feel good. And I mean, there's nothing like the rush you get doing a show. And whether it's acting, whether it's VO, whether it's comedy, but like the entertainment factor is always there. What I realized that I really love about comedy is the way it makes other people feel. And that's become really evident to me during the pandemic. And I really just in the last month or two, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, I'm just looking for that 1 hour out of my day when I can escape. And this thing that you're doing helps me do that. It helps me. I was having a bad day. I was in a really bad place. That kind of feedback is just really, it just like fills you up with like good feelings. And
Mm,
that's what I love about this. Everybody
yeah,
wants to laugh and it makes you feel good.
there is a great comedy place, Flappers Comedy, out here in
Hmm.
Burbank. And I went there. I had never really gone to a comedy place before. And I went there, I saw the MC, and it was just voice actors doing comedy routines and
Hmm.
skits and stuff. And I was like, this is so fun. And then at the very end, we had Tom Kenny with his band performing. And I was just like, what? And
Awesome.
it was just fun to, and this is obviously, I think this is before, what happened. And
Yeah.
so
What should we call it?
they say the before times. I don't know.
The pandemic Lovato, or I like to call it the pandemic at the disco, or the pandy on our handy,
Yes, exactly.
so many names.
But it was such a, you're right. There's something to be said about the experience that you get, the rush. It's, like, would I ever do that? I don't know. Uh, I don't know if my comedy is there, but it's certainly something I appreciate and I respect. Has once said
Mhm.
that you can go up, and if you bomb, you bomb. And
Yeah.
then at the end of the day, nothing really happens to you. You go over it. So
Yeah, I'm not a doctor of comedy. I'm not pure like, water on the knee operation style, but I do consider myself a punch doctor, and I just really love helping other people write jokes too. That's another one of the things I love about it is the satisfaction of and I know that I had a hand in that.
exactly. It's amazing. So what's been your favorite project that you've worked on?
VO project or any project.
Whatever comes to mind.
Um, I really love the work that I've done in Clubhouse, honestly. In particular, the Mr. Tooth stuff. This little tooth that just kind of came to fruition in September between a conversation with a friend that said she wished she had a butler. You know, I was like, what if he was a little tooth? And then that just took off from there. And it's just been so satisfying and fun. And it's such a dumb concept. It's a little tooth with a mustache and rosy cheeks. And he's British and he just goes into rooms and Clubhouse and is silly. and it makes people happy.
That's amazing. So it's
Yeah.
coming this spring, so I'm looking forward to listening to that.
He has a table read show that's coming out. And because he was a former butler and he wants to be an actor, he can't break that typecasting. And so he keeps getting cast as a butler and everything. So whether it's Alice on the Brady Bunch and he's playing that role, or he's Jeffrey on the Fresh Prince, or he's Mr. Belvedere or Tony Danza, every week we do a script that Mr. Tooth just inevitably casts as the butler, and he's quite angry.
Very good. Very good. That's amazing. Can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, maybe you could come on it.
Yes.
Be a lot of
I
fun.
I might listen, because I've been in quite a few table reads, and I'm like, okay.
Got to give your vocal cords a rest.
It's just fun to listen to sometimes, just
Yeah,
to listen to the talent and appreciate it more.
The beauty of it is it's a mix of people that want to act, people that are professionals, and people that just like are comics.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's a lot of fun.
That's so cool. So good luck to you on that.
Thank you so much.
Do you need to live in LA or New York to be a voice actor?
Definitely not. I think that in a different time you did, but I mean, given the thing and just the way that we work now and the way that people have home studios, and I think if you want to go out there one time and meet your agent or meet someone of note, that's great, but definitely not required.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think times are changing. I still think this also kind of bleeds into the next question: how professional studios, are they going to go back to in person, or are they going to be using home studios going forward? I think it's going to be a combination of a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that a lot. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're probably right. When you think about studio time and the cost, if there's a dip in that, then maybe it would be more accessible to people. But then again, there's only so many studios. So, I mean, for what it would cost to outfit your home in a decent way, in the long term, it might be better, and I think it depends on like the level of effort people want to put in, I think, on editing too. If you're savvy, great. I would say do it at home. If you're looking for like a more produced thing from like a professional and you can afford it, then maybe you're at that place in your career where you don't want to cut your own stuff. Yeah, it's a real mix. I mean, it's just you mentioned earlier about it's like, it doesn't matter what age you get into it at. It's such a welcoming profession in that way.
I went in and recorded my commercial demo, and I went
Mhm.
into the actual studio to record it. And it was a bit weird. I'm not going to lie, because I've done one from home. So, because, recorded it last year. Well, 2020,
Mhm.
but I kept forgetting, like, everything's
What
bleeding
year is
together.
this?
Yeah, I don't know.
I literally am like, I need a calendar, but I would probably never update it. So
Yeah. But yeah, like I do think that having your home studio has become more and more a standard. And it also goes into the next thing is, what's the most important thing that you need for a home studio?
a good mic that's not a USB mic, probably, and good set headphones, and a
Mhm.
computer that doesn't have a fan that's whirling at you.
I think the mic is important, but I also
Mhm.
think that your treatment of the booth, or
Mhm.
the box, cubicle, whatever you want to call it, walk-in closet, I think it should
Right.
have some sort of treatment to it, so
So,
that
what's
what
yours like?
mine is like a little closet.
Mhm.
I can't really jump up and down and like use my hands and arms. I would love to do that, but we live in an apartment in LA, so space and time is everything. So, but I have black foam, and I have a mic, and I've had people visit, and they're like, "This looks legit," to me, and the sound is really good. So I've never had my agents complain about the
Great.
sound of it. And do I wish I had a different mic? Yes, but whatever.
Yeah, that's people get really messed up on the mic and the mixer, and like, I mean, get a nice one, get a Scarlett maybe, or like get a Rodecaster or something, but like, you don't have to go crazy. Mine's the
There-
same way. It's the foam on the walls, and then it's literally the short end of an L-shaped closet.
Mine is more like a long rectangle,
Mhm.
but and I'm inside the rectangle where the doors open on the long part. So it's
Okay.
kind
Yeah, the one side of mine,
um,
it's like an L, so the long side has clothes that insulate naturally, and then the other side's built up floor to ceiling with the foam. But yeah, I switch out a couple different mics, but the computer I just take in and out with me. I don't leave it in there.
Yeah, I have my computer in there. When it's good, it doesn't make a noise. And then when it's bad, then I have to like grab some peas, frozen peas. So if people that are listening, if your fan kicks on and it's going, grab some frozen peas, put it on the bottom of your laptop or whatever, and it should, in theory, it should go quiet. But if it doesn't, I don't know.
If the fan kicks on, you're not going to be a fan.
Oh,
yeah.
not exactly. What are some classes that you recommend?
For me, I mean, I've done like a little bit of improv stuff. I never took any formal voice classes. I definitely, I think sometimes the best way to learn is to get feedback, whether it be from a seasoned professional or, you know, a peer that you trust that's like maybe deeply ingrained in the industry already. That's the only way you're going to learn is to do things. And I'm a very firm believer in like on the job training.
Yeah, I think you get better by practice. I signed up for a workshop with a well-known agent, and I'm terrified, but I did it. And I was like, okay, it's a new year, new beginnings. Let's do this. What's the worst
That's
that's going
awesome.
to happen? I don't know. We always think the worst because imposter syndrome sneaks up as actors, as performers. I struggle with it. I've been open about it on my podcast. I struggle with it. I'm not perfect, but I know that I'm at least good at some point because I have some representation now, and you know, I knew that working hard was just a stepping stone. You have your storytelling that you bring to the table, and being bringing that story and bringing that story to life is everything with your performance. Because a lot of people think that it's just, oh, it's a cute voice and everything. Well, that's
No,
true.
I was gonna say you're right. It is a lot of hard work, and you know, not just the VO, but like when I do the impression stuff, I spend hours practicing them, and that is alone practicing them, being silly, like just doing them, like taking a shower, doing them, walking around, doing them. You know, I'm doing a ton of things, but I'm working on the craft.
Totally. So, what's your VO dream job or gig?
I would love something very like Simpsony, you know, like something that iconic that's edgy and fun. Um, I mean, that's just like that's the realm. One of my favorite cartoons that I would love to do, like would love, is Daria. Like I just love every voice on there, and it's such a funny little show. The other one, like as far as cartoons, like Rocko's Modern Life, love that. And if we're talking like just like narration or real or like VO, I don't get as hyped about the narrations, but probably like something Nat Geo.
Yep. I think of made me think of crikey, it's the Owens. Uh um man, I still miss him. He you
You're the
know,
second person to bring him up this week to me. That's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
I was watching him the other day. Yesterday? Was it yesterday before I had a workout,
Mhm.
VO workout, and I was like, man, his son, he would be so proud of his wife and his
Yeah.
kids, and he'd be grandpa, and you know, I don't know
It's,
why it touched me in a way. I think,
it's
uh,
just tragic, you know, it was just so quick. And I think he was very like, his personality transcended the television. I think it was like so gregarious and like, he was just a personable guy, you know?
mhm. Yeah,
I think
I think
people grew up on that.
yeah, and so whenever we decide to go to Australia, whenever that is, I definitely wanted to go to the Australia Zoo because
Mhm.
that zoo is the you know, of founded around his family, and his whole family runs it, and like what could be a better part to honor his name and his legacy, you know, than to go there.
I
So
couldn't
yeah.
agree more. Yeah. He's legend.
Hmm. Yeah. Could talk about him all day, but
But yeah, he was awesome.
what are your thoughts about demos?
I think they're necessary. I think that they're a little bit of a pain, but you know, I think a commercial demo is great. Um, I think it's worth putting the money in. It's something that I wish I would have like thought more about sooner rather than just, you know, kind of now. Like it's great to have a bunch of like clips of things you've done, but a really well-produced demo is helpful in getting representation, as you know.
Yeah, I just redid my commercial, and because the one I did before, it was 3 years old, and I was like, you
Mhm.
know what? It's time to redo it. I'm not. I'm better than that now. So,
Yeah, of
but
course.
I knew that I think the ultimate goal was to get bigger representation down the road, and I was like, well, I need to have something that's competitive and showcases what I do. And I also know that I'm not going to do medical narration. I'm not going to do corporate narration. I'm not going to do politicals. I'm not going to do narration.
Mhm.
Maybe kids' audiobooks, not traditional audiobooks. I don't have the patience for that. Um, so there's a lot of things that a lot of other like regular e-learning, no, but kids e-learning, yes. So again, finding what your strengths are and showcasing that. Like if you don't want to do medical narration, then don't do medical narration. Find out what's your strengths and your
Mhm.
weaknesses.
And you might not know what you're good at or what you're into. So like when I first started, I was like, I'll just do some free stuff and then kind of get my feet wet. Not like when I was working in the studio, I was like, oh, this is great. They're teaching me everything I need to know. Then I did independent stuff and I was like, okay, well, we're not really sure how to use the computer yet. I don't really know what I'm going to be good at. I've done a bunch of like training videos. So, it's like finding your passion. Is this a full-time job? Is this just a side hustle? What are you into? Medical narration, somebody out there probably into that, not me.
Yeah, I see myself more of as a character actress,
Mhm.
and that's okay. And
Oh, I love that.
but I also know that I can do commercials because there's a sound that's needed for that. The youthful sound is very popular right now. So
The sound of our youth. I love it.
yes, so the youthful sound is good. But again, like when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, and I took an audiobook course. Ironically, I read Harry Potter. Was I nervous? Okay, I don't like audiobooks, oh, I don't like this. And, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, I think is so important because I don't know if everybody can do everything. There's a few chameleons out there, you know who you are, um, that can do everything, and that doesn't take away that you're not talented. No, just knowing those, again, strengths and weaknesses will make you that much stronger.
Yep. Many years ago, I went to an improv group just on a whimprov, if you will. And I showed up and they were like, yeah, you might just be better suited for solo work. And like, I took that really serious and I never did improv. And then I got into improv this year. I'm like, oh, I must have grown and changed. Now I can do that. It's just like, I wasn't strong at it then. And I was obviously wanting the center of attention. So that's why I got into comedy as a stand up. But then, it's the same with VO where it's like, I'm doing these things where I'm like, they're like training safety videos for air traffic controllers. Well, that's not really I was good at it, but it wasn't my passion. And I learned so much about just the way you speak and, pacing and like working your jowls out beforehand and, just things that you don't think about and like maybe hold that voice and not talk a little bit beforehand so you can not lose it in the midway. It's just, you're right. It's just the strengths and weaknesses, knowing them. You really can't be like the Da Vinci on everything. There's times I think I am. I have the opposite problem of imposter syndrome. I have too much confidence. And I don't know when to stop sometimes.
You know,
Different kind of problem.
no, I think confidence is necessary because sometimes I lack it. And I'm like, no, okay, you're gonna do this, do it. And so you gotta psych myself up. Or yeah, I've bombed in front of people. It's a thing. Stage
Oh
fright
yeah,
is very real. So everybody's looking at you. So yeah,
it's true.
it's a thing. But knowing you having confidence in your abilities and confident in what you do makes you that much more. What's that saying? Fake it till you make it. Uh,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
because by default, I'm a very quiet, shy person, but having this
No, not you.
platform, having this platform has allowed me to just come out of my shell and just be myself. And I think that's the ultimate goal is just be yourself and nothing else. So
That's great. That's like in the being yourself and kind of coming into it, like you're really leaning into it now. Like you're feeling it. You're feeling yourself basically. And that is the best feeling when you're like, I am gonna run this bee right now. This is great. Like, that's awesome. There's nothing like it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What would you tell your younger self?
Well, we did kind of touch on this, that I would definitely have said, hey, younger Leslie, maybe don't listen to your parents and maybe do what you care about because they didn't pay for your college anyway. But actually,
Ooh.
like, yeah. Uh, I just, I feel like we are often looking for satisfaction in our vocation. And I think that if you're that person, make sure you're doing something you love because you're going to keep searching and looking and like going from job to job. I worked as a government contractor for many years, for like 13 years, and just thinking like the next opportunity was going to be better. And I was great at what I did, but I wasn't really happy. And I kept thinking like, oh, maybe more money will make me happy. Maybe this other opportunity will make me happy. Ultimately, I wasn't doing what my passion was. So I was never going to be as happy as I could be like I am now. Now I still have a job, but I spend so much more time doing my passion and it makes my life so much more full.
Ooh, well said. That was like a TED Talk.
Well, it's that overconfidence.
You should do a TED Talk. If someone hasn't told you to
I
do
love
one, you
that.
should do it. You should
Thank
do
you.
one. I can see you doing one.
Somebody before was like, you should do a podcast. I was like, no, I just go on other people's.
Well, that could be interesting too, having your own podcast. Although I will say it's a lot of work. So if you ever need
I,
any help.
I will be calling you up for sure.
So do you have a website and where can people find you?
So I don't have a formal website. I have a link tree and that has all my socials on there. Not my social security number though, or my tax ID. That's for me. But YouTube, TikTok, Instagram is really my primary home. And my second home, ironically, Clubhouse, the name. Uh, I spent a lot of time there, always doing stuff in there for sure.
I've had meetings in there, ironically, and you wouldn't think, oh, you're always on Clubhouse, V. No, I'm
You're
actually
working.
doing work. And so it's one of those things where like I see you a lot. Well, I'm getting stuff done. I'm not just, playing around.
Well,
So,
yeah, and there's rooms I go in there sometimes. I work at home, and when I'm not doing entertainment or comedy or VO, I'm doing my job, my other job, and so I'll go into co-working rooms, and I love it for that because they're not my actual coworkers, so I don't have any like skin in the game with that, but I can still be social, and they're not like, hey, have you done that report? Have you got the TPS report done? Like, I'm not worried about somebody asking questions about status. I'm enjoying other people's company, and it's just really nice during this time.
I think definitely Clubhouse has blown up since then because of, what happened. And
Mm-hmm.
it gave other people, it was like back in the day, it was kind of, there was like an audio chat room. This is kind of like that, but taking it to the next level. You can pick and choose what you want to listen to. I used to be like, in the beginning, I was like always on. Now I'm like, okay, now I need to take a break or I need to like
When did you get on? Like when did you start playing it or doing it?
February of 2020. I don't know. I think so.
2021. Okay.
2021. I
I
think it
was
might
because
be
I was
21.
January. I'm coming up on my club anniversary.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. It's just so many, like I could talk about it for hours and I do. It's
Mhm,
something that has brought me so much fulfillment and so many opportunities that I can't say that I would have had otherwise. And
mhm.
also a lot of good friends.
Here, here. Uh,
Mhm.
now what's going on in your world?
Right now. I'm getting ready for my next live show on, I think it's January 16th at the Broadway Comedy Club. I'm hoping that doesn't get canceled because of the thing, working on some new impressions. I'm working on a VO for a friend that is an inventor and he works in production and photography and camera. So he's come up with this device that lets you do like a teleprompting situation with an iPad. And so you're looking directly at the person on a Zoom rather than to the side where your picture would normally be. It's really neat. So I just did like a little track on that for him. Um, yeah, I'm just excited about the prospects of like what's to come in 2022. I'm like Taylor Swift. I'm feeling 22.
Yes, life happens. Yes, things happen. But that's just stepping stones. Kind of like that image. I saw it this morning on Instagram. An iceberg, right?
Mhm.
So everybody sees there's the success of the iceberg above the water, and everything below the water is stuff that people don't see as far as the iceberg is concerned. All the pain and the rejection, all this other stuff. I like to think of it as that. People don't see all the hard work that goes behind, oh, the commercial demo or whatever it is that you're doing. Again, it's like an iceberg. everybody sees just a small portion above the iceberg, that's the success. Everything below the iceberg is everything that people don't see. So
You're
I like
right.
to think of it that way.
Like even before COVID, I got divorced. Like I was getting divorced as COVID was happening. And that was like, seemed like that was like, oh my God, it's like the worst thing ever. But ultimately got past that, got past what we're going through. And I'm just like so grateful to have this life and these opportunities. And, it's been a lot of hard work. And you're right, nothing comes easily. And if you're naturally good at something, definitely lean into it because you're going to be very successful at it.
Well, to new beginnings into 2022. Well,
Goodbye to imposter syndrome. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. There you have it, friends. You heard it from Leslie. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been a delight and treat speaking with you.
Thanks. This was a lot of fun.